Yeah, so I wanted to review this book. It's by Aaron Dembski Bowden. Aaron Dembski Bowden. I always kill people names. I'm so sorry, and people have gotten me in the comments for killing names already. So please forgive me. But Aaron Dembski Bowden, and this is a Warhammer 40,000 book, 40K book, and but I just read it, the full series of Night Lords, and I thoroughly enjoyed these books. And so, if you're not into the 40K universe and the 40K Hammer universe, I'm sorry, Warhammer 40K universe, this is probably not a set of books to start with. you know?
I will say this though,
Uh
really
huh.
quickly. Being someone who's into this kind of thing, sci-fi, fantasy-wise, and just having skirted around the outskirts of this lore on my own, me personally, I know I need to clear my schedule, make sure I'm not doing anything, because that universe is a slippery slope. So if you are into that kind of thing, watch out, because it will take over your life. You'll be painting
It's
figurines.
it's it's unending. It is an unending universe. This is not a universe that you have to take breaks. So, but there are some very good books in this universe, and so if you haven't and you're interested in starting, I would recommend starting. I would recommend starting with book 1, 2, 3, which is the Horus Heresies by Dan Abnett. And also another set of Dan Abnett books is the Xenos trilogy. I think most everyone who writes for this, because there's multiple authors that write for this universe, most everyone that writes, they usually write in trilogies. And they all take like a small part of the different universes and write in it. The only issue is with this set of books, the Night Lords, is that they have certain vocabulary and certain lore that they mention in the book that you'll be completely lost if you don't have some previous knowledge of it first. So I think the Horse Heresies will kind of get you started on where things are
Okay.
in later books and how things are set up and whatever, and then the book on Xenos, Dan Abnett's Xenos trilogy, will also set you up for some other like people outside the empire.
Okay.
Some of the extra people who are outside the empire that actually pose a threat to the people in the empire. Um, so yeah, this book Night Lords is actually from the bad guy standpoint. Well, and it's hard to say bad guys because in Warhammer 40K, you have what you might call the good guys doing bad things and horrible
Oh,
things,
okay. Yeah.
and then you'll have the bad guys actually doing some positive and some good things. But for the sake of like differentiating and having black and white, this is from the bad guy standpoint. And even the main character, his name is Talos. Now Talos, he has these prophetic dreams, and his Night Lords are, they're from a specific. They're so the story starts out with Talos, who has like these prophetic dreams, and so his group of guys that follow him, he's not even really the leader, but because they know his dreams have been very accurate, they've been following his dreams,
Okay.
and so they found some of the things
Like
on their.
Space Joseph.
What's that?
Like Space Joseph
I don't think I've ever read. No, I don't know Space Joseph.
from the Bible.
Space Joseph?
Joseph
Oh,
from
Joseph with the dreams. Okay, yeah. Yeah, but Joseph was a decidedly good guy. And Talos has zero regard for human life. And the stories revolve around him. So he's likable in the sense, and I believe this is very important for like the main character to be likable. He's likable in the sense that he's very loyal to his men. He's super loyal to his men. He will put his own life on the line for his men. But when it comes to human life, he even allowed his own mother to be killed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the story definitely doesn't shade you from the fact that this is a horrible person. This is a horrible, and he's not considered a human being anymore because he has the gene seed of the God Emperor within him. You know what I'm saying? And the gene seed is what kind of separates the Astartes from like normal human beings. And so he has the gene seed of the Emperor within him. It was implanted when he was a child and so on. But again, that stuff, the lore of that, again, comes from book 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to get into that. But and the fact that he's loyal to his men, and his loyalty to his men and the people, and even to his slaves, right? He's loyal to his slaves to a certain point. I remember
slaves killing his mother.
Yeah. So then he has slaves. He has this one slave and slave servant, right? That and he goes and just takes slaves from where, but he takes them according to his dreams. He's like, okay, I need to show up here. I need to kill all these people and take this one person as a slave because they're going to be instrumental. They're going to be necessary for the campaign and the things that we're doing. And so, but he's very loyal in that regard. And as a result, they're able to accomplish some good, a lot of bad, you know. But I think that's what kind of brings you and makes you like him. But yet it always goes back to the point where the very basic foundation and beliefs of this character is bad.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So even though he's a horrible person, as a horrible thing, it makes you stay with the story because of his loyalty.
You want to understand where that comes from.
Exactly.
And I think that's a trend actually nowadays, is the anti-hero and the hyper-violence. Just like, okay, where is this coming from? Why is it happening? What made you type of thing. Something that were you done explaining the series?
No, go ahead.
So something that very similar in the trilogy, and that's why I wanted to ask, because I was about to get into a Star Wars trilogy. So if you're not done,
well, so he has these prophetic dreams. He goes through and he again collects these slaves and so on, and he's not even quite sure where the dreams are coming from, why he's getting, like, he sees it almost as a curse to have these dreams because they incapacitate him for a long time and so on. So it finally plays out like why he's having these dreams. And I think is really cool. You know, you see the progression of him, and in a way he's sort of he knows that some of the things, even though he's a bad guy, he knows that some of the things that he believes is not true and not right, but he also thinks that because he's already so far down that rabbit hole that he can't change.
Wow.
Which is, and so he's like, well, what else am I going to do? I'm too far down. You see what I'm saying? Which is it's really kind of deep. And I love this book. I love this book series. Again, it's called Night Lords by Aaron Bowden. And and I would give this, if I should put it on a 5-star scale, I would give this a 4.2.
Ooh, high praise.
4.2 out of 5 stars. You guys know, very rarely do I ever even go past 4.5. What did I say?
You said 4.2.
I said 4.2. I very rarely go past 4.5 into even 5. So 4.2 is very high, you know, and it's definitely worth a read. It's definitely worth a read, even if, and of course, like, again, the first few books of Horus Heresy, the Horus Heresy, which is book 1, 2, and 3 from Dan Abnett, and also Xenos, the Xenos trilogy. Those are also very high, very good books. They're a little bit more difficult to read, but once you get into it, it's dope. It's really dope.
Difficult because of just terminology and lore, that kind of thing? You need the background?
Difficult because even though it's book 1, you're starting in the middle of everything. Oh, okay. And so everything is new. There's no background information that you can possibly get. Probably starting from Xenos is actually better.
Okay.
Starting from Xenos with Dan Abnett is better, and then going back to book 1. So at least you'll have an idea of the lore and stuff like that before you start. Because, again, book 1 starts you in the middle. and then slowly builds you up, and you kind of discover what happens later. And there's ways that they do it, like they have interviews with some of the characters because some people write in books or whatever. Anyways, so yeah, either one of those will be good if you're starting the 40K Warhammer 40K. All right.